The way you whine on me, yes, it grab my attention. So seductively, everyone pay attention. You make a little man they stand at attention. You're causing some serious tension. The way you're whining and you're whining and you're whining all night. The way you're walking and you're walking and you're walking all night. The way you're walking, girl, I got this how you're doing it right. With the alcohol in your head. I don't know what's the deal, don't know what's your deal. You come whine on me, girl, with so much sex appeal. I hope you don't mind if I take you to your knees. Cause I'm ready for walk, let me bend up your damn sleeve. I'm walking and I'm walking and I'm walking all night. I'm walking and I'm walking and I'm walking all night. And when I'm walking, girl, you better know I'm doing it right. And I'm done my sleep now. Hey! I love this party, the flipping party. When the DJ play all them groovy songs. He make the girl wind up till them wet. Them push back and the mood set. Walking and they walking and they walking all night. Walking and they walking and they walking all night. The way you're walking, girl, I gotta say you're doing it right. So we drop out the style and let the alcohol in. The party get on. Which crew with us get on? Who does make this like turn up loud? How is the man but us move the crowd? You know that we have the fetting stripe because we mad and we hype. And when we meet in the place, vibes connect like talent sky. Mad people, we do what we want when we want, anyhow we want to. So do walk surprise like you never know. Who does make the party get on? Which crew with us get on? Who does make this like turn up loud? How is the man but us move the crowd?
Baby, wine on. One love, one heart. One love, one heart. One love, one heart. One love, one heart. Wind up your body, girl, you feel a wine. Wind up your body, girl, you feel a wine. Wind up your body, girl, you feel a wine. Wind up your body, yeah. Bubble up, tongue ring with your tattoo. You a wine up, you know what I do. And ain't no sir they can't do. Yeah, I'm loving you. The way how you whine and you bend up your back and you push back. Loving you. Girl, my must start from your heart, yeah. Baby, wine on me. One love, one heart. One love, one heart. One love, one heart. One love, one heart.
So it's already. Don't need to tell you you're bad, but you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, yeah. Eyes them lock on your body and I'm ready to brace it. Welcome closer. I don't see you, don't stop me, and I know that you're ready. So come here, let me put it on you. Girl, I wanna jam the whole night with you alone. And I'm in that baby, I don't need another lady. Yeah, come let me take you up to a higher zone. Later, let we take it up. Oh yeah, putting everything in this wine, girl. I take with you all of this. Make sure you can handle it. Baby, I ain't leaving nothing out. Yeah, I'm giving you all of this. Make sure you can handle it. Yeah, cause everything going on you, on you, on you. Everything going on you, on you, on you. Everything going on you, on you, on you. Everything going on you. I'm looking for it. We want to find the Fed because I turn me GPS on. The party pumper they call me. Once the Fed is on, I bet you I will be riding. The cooler done set, pocket check so I feeling high.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sit With Women with your favorite girl, Micah. And I have my guest DJ here with me, DJ Splash. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Go ahead, do me a favor, share that live, and we'll be back. Today we have a very interesting topic. We are going to be talking about financial literacy, guys. That's what we're talking about today. We have a beautiful, beautiful guest. It's going to be a virtual conversation today. It's going to be the same vibes, same positivity, same live. Everything is going to be the same. Might be even better. We have some good music today. Just do me a favor, guys. Go ahead and share the live, all right?
come out and we gone. That's when you know party done. We wait till the last song wheel out and the last drop of alcohol done, yeah. Mighty we in there, every fete we in there. We start the mass in there. Whoa, yeah. I don't know the party in could believe me. Cause it's we who bring the life to the party. I hop in a hit, bet your life I hop in a hit. Not a damn party, we just disbelieve it. I hop in it, straight from the jet I had to party. Right up in it, if you're looking for me then you will find me. I can't stop. Hey, as soon as it gets open I can. 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 I'm tired stay home I need a faith. I need a faith, I need a faith. I'm tired stay home I need a faith. I need a faith, I need a faith. I'm tired stay home I need a faith. As soon as it gets open I can. 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 I'm tired stay home I need a faith. I need a faith, I need a faith. I'm tired stay home I need a faith. I need a faith, I need a faith. I'm tired stay home I need a faith. I need a faith, I need a faith. I'm tired stay home I need a faith. I need a faith, I need a faith. Open up the gates to mass. Open up the gates to fete. Open up the gates to mass. Open up the gates to juve. I need a faith, I need a faith. I'm tired still, I need a faith. I need a faith, I need a faith. I'm tired still, I need a faith. I need a faith, I need a faith. We just for all our days. Who does man of the party? Tell them it's 4-7 trade. Shout it, let them know where we represent 4-7 trade. Who's the baddest? Not getting rid of we ways. We just for all our days. Who does man of the party? Tell them it's 4-7 trade. Shout it, let them know where we represent 4-7 trade. Who's the baddest party? 4-7 trade. Them no crazy like we, cause we from 4-7 trade. Up in nothing we there. When it come to vetting, we don't play. We not living different till we say. Promoter and police can't move away. Yeah, we just hype it up whenever the crew link up. We bring the vibes, we bring the life, we bring the everything. Say something about we talk, we have different energy. As anybody who does matter the party, tell them it's 4-7 trade. Shout it, let them know where we represent 4-7 trade.
Sipping the juice on the brass out. Watch out the vibes like a turnout. Dark people think your ex.
Any bottle that pass, I take in a sip of it. And you know it's one mass whenever I take a hit. Yeah, the liquor make me feel the vibes. I just get on when me hurt get nice.
Fly up in my head, oh. I'm feeling high and I'm mellow. I'm feeling high and I'm mellow, high and I'm mellow, high and I'm mellow. The room fly up in my head, oh. I'm feeling high and I'm mellow. I'm feeling high and I'm mellow, high and I'm mellow, high and I'm mellow. When you doing that in front of me, dang, getting on so with your big fancy. Baby, I want you push it back at me, girl. I want you to push it back at me, baby. I want you push it back at me, girl. I want you to push it back at me, girl. I want you to push. I want you to push, girl. I want you to push.
All right, guys. All right. It's 2:10. I must say thank you for tuning in once again. Welcome to Good Music, Good Times. You are aired onto Sit with Women with somebody called me Princess Jasmine a few minutes ago. Princess Jasmine. Sit with women. Like I mentioned earlier, we are going to talk a little bit about financial literacy today with Melissa, who is going to be representing Millennial in Debt. But before we get there, I must say 2020 has been tragic. I mean, it has its ups, but it has been tragic. Earlier this morning, I don't know how many of you paid attention, but Shensia lost her mother, her dear mother, earlier this morning, and that is just heart-wrenching. I can't even imagine what she's going through right now, but on behalf of GMGT, we would like to send our condolences to Shensia. Guys, whenever you can, just say a prayer for her, please. She needs it right now. If you guys don't know, her mother was absolutely her rock. Her mother was her everything. She has been there for her from day one. And, I guess that's how it is. So we must say R.I.P. to Shensia's mother. Right. I had a really good week. How was everybody's week so far? I had a really good week. What should I say? Yesterday, I received some flowers. I was having like a really rough day, and I got called upstairs to the front door, and they're like, "Hey, Armika, somebody's looking for you." I got upstairs, and there's this guy, and he's like, "You're Armika?" I'm like, "Yes." And he's like, "Well, you're loved." And I'm like, "Okay." And he handed me this, pretty bag of flowers. I should have brought it so you guys could see. Oh my God. My goodness. I can't wait to introduce you guys to who that special guy might be soon, probably at the end of the show. Maybe. I don't know. I'll think about it. But, I was really surprised, and that has put me in a good mood for today. So we're going to have a lot of fun. I might go up until 3:30. I don't know. I'm just saying. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hello to Kendra, Elliot, Jason, Keisha, Rooney. Hi, Alma Boy, Brooklyn Princess, Squeaky. Thank you guys. Paris, Jason, Lola Samaj, Richie. Thank you guys for tuning in. I look forward to a very interesting conversation today with Melissa. Yep, we're going to talk a little bit about financial literacy. If you guys need tips, I beg you to stay in this chat, stay on the live so that, we can all rise above from wherever we are financially. So financial literacy, I'm going to break it down a little, is basically the ability to understand and to properly apply financial management skills. It is effective financial planning, properly managing debt, calculating interest, and understanding the time value of money are characteristics of being financially literate. So guys, today she's going to give us some tips and help us understand ourselves financially, I can say. Right? It's 2:15. Time to bring her in the chat room. Yes, guys, yes.
Party
Splash Lord. DJ Splash Lord. You see the bad mind there? You see that touchness there? Trust me when I say, brother. Once DJ Splash in your face is nice there. Boy. Hands in the sky, splash, bring the vibes. Once you reach in your face is nice there. Yeah, boy. They got the nice splashes, the vibes. And I don't mean to be bossy, but they can shell dance like way. Once DJ Splash in there, well, it's vibes and energy. They can party like way. Too much time on there, DJ Splash go down the place. Oh gosh, oh ja, DJ Splash are the sweetest woman. Yeah.
Oh Lord, mama, together me say the love is so strong. Oh Lord.
DJ Splash don't care.
This kind of
Public service announcement. If you know you don't have enough money in your pocket, then move away from the bar. DJ Splash line up the tunes. Hear me now. It could be water, it could be rum. Once you hear DJ Splash, know this party shall dum.
It could be water, it could be rum. Once you hear DJ Splash, know this party shall down. Cause the bottle's over, yeah. And he dumps into the crowd is over, yeah. Watch your DJ Splash does have them gal and they gone like.
Watch how DJ Splash does have them gal on the gong like. Okay, DJ Splash don't mean to be rude, and you never watch face. You might have your preference in DJs, but DJ Splash is the best.
Good afternoon, Melissa. How are you? Can you hear me clearly? Give me 1 second, okay? Guys, can you hear us? Everybody on the live, can you guys hear us?
It could be rum. Once you hear DJ Splash, know this party shall down. Cause the bottle's over, yeah.
It's gonna be one of the best. Straight Carrick, we going. Take a trip. Here in the Caribbean, no way it wouldn't be snowing. Ladies half naked on the beach as soon as you reach up. While the man building the tent, setting the wood them straight up. This young lady came from a foreign country, in need of a spouse, so she decided to check with. When she check out all the family, right away the woman seems very happy. Hey boy, who convinced she? Don't care what you say, don't care what you do. She love all the people from Carriacou. All she foreign friends say they love them too. She love all the people from Carriacou. You could find that key go so for you. She love all the people from Carriacou. With them there's always something to do. She love all the people from Carriacou's Jack. She loved them Kingsley, she loved them David, she loved them Alfred, she loved them Keishan, she loved them Devon, she loved them Marvin, she loved them Karen, she loved them. Feel the power, nice sweet soca. Feel the power, nice sweet soca. Tuesday morning me coming down, truck passing through Chinatown, glass in my hand sipping me rum, and I'm not running from the sun. Rum in my veins and in my face.
Good afternoon. I'm hearing you perfectly clear now, Melissa. Perfect.
Great, thank you. I was so nervous.
I'm
Good.
actually not hearing you perfect.
Can you hear me now?
No, I'm not hearing her again.
Oh.
Guys, we seem to be having a little bit of technical difficulties. Okay, Melissa, try talking to me again.
Can you hear me now?
No, I'm still not
No.
hearing no song. So I heard you like 3 seconds ago. I heard you
Okay.
say hi. No, I'm not hearing you. Okay, so try taking off your headphones for me.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
No. Is your Bluetooth still on?
No, I turned the Bluetooth off. I turned the speaker off.
Okay, this is a little funny because somebody on the live said they're hearing you, but I'm not hearing you.
Oh. Is it better now? No.
2 people said they're hearing her. Is my headphone? Yeah. Say hello?
Yes.
It's
Better?
all the way up.
No. I'm sorry.
Okay, so how can everybody hear you, but I'm the only person who can hear you?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Everybody's hearing her on the live. Okay. All right, it's fine. It's not you. It's clearly something to do with me.
I'm sorry.
Or I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, somebody was playing the live, so I heard you in the background, but I don't know.
That's okay.
All right, guys. Well, this is Melissa.
Hi, everybody.
Well, I'm just gonna ask you the questions,
Okay.
and you can answer them because clearly they can hear you. Hopefully I figure it out so I can hear your
Okay.
response because I was really excited to hear from you.
I'm so sorry. I'll do my
So
best.
you can tell us a little bit about yourself and if your Caribbean roots, if you have any.
Sure.
You know, just let us know a little bit about you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I do have Caribbean roots. My parents are Haitian. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay.
I can hear
My
you.
parents are Haitian, so my brothers and myself were first generation here in America. So we were the first to experience, high school here, college here. So everything was really a new experience and a learning experience. I went to private school essentially all my life, and then when I went to college, I was pretty much on my own to pay for it. And I didn't really know too many other things besides scholarships and taking loans. So I took the loans and I was like, okay, I'll pay them off when I graduate, and never really realized how much the debt had added up and how much my career wasn't really going to pay for it easily. And it was just something that I kind of chose to ignore for a while, until it was too late, until I wanted to move out and I wanted to buy a house and I couldn't because I had so much debt. And that's really when I started focusing on financial literacy and financial freedom and really learning how to use money as a tool, instead of kind of just running away from the debt.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Well, it's good to know that you have a little Haitian background. Us here, we are fully Caribbean roots. But that's good to know. So I know you were a teacher before because you actually taught one of my cousins.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Her name is Janelle Blackman.
I love Janelle. She's like my favorite, one of my favorites. Oh my
That's
God.
sweet to know. So can you just tell me what that experience was like and how did it contribute to, where you are and who you are today?
Yes, so I still am a teacher. So this is my 10th year of teaching. So I started teaching when I was 22 years old, and I didn't really understand, how what I was doing was really going to impact students from the financial literacy aspect. So I taught English, and I loved the kids. I loved connecting with the kids, but I wanted to do something that was more impactful and helpful in their real world. So reading and writing is obviously fantastic, but I really started to shift. When I started to shift my mentality on money, I started to incorporate more financial literacy things in my everyday teaching and all my lessons, and really showing them, how to open up a checking account, how to open up a savings account, how to balance your budget, how to create a budget that works for you. And really, especially when I was teaching Janelle's class, really teaching them that they don't have to buy every single pair of Jordans that comes out. There's other things that they can use their money for that are more beneficial. So I think that's really how I was able to tie in my financial world with my teaching world.
That's really interesting. That's nice. I think that's something that we don't get a lot when we start school. We don't really get exposed to financial literacy. They don't really give us the depths of accounting. They give us the basics. They don't tell you how to save. They don't explain to you what is the difference between a checking and a savings account. They don't tell you, maybe you should not do this and try to do this, especially if you want to go through college. So I think that's really important that you actually try to do that for your students.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Missy. I appreciate that because she has taught me some things too.
Thanks.
It rubbed off.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So how did you, get really involved in the financial literacy?
Yes. So when I was 25 years old, I was living at home with my parents and I started looking into trying to buy a home. I really wanted to get a mortgage and move out and start living like an adult, a real adult life.
Right.
And when I started going to the different realtors and I got pre-approved and they were pre-approving me for like $100,000, $125,000. And I was really, really confused because I couldn't understand, I had a job. My credit was pretty decent. I couldn't understand why I was being approved for so little. And I'm like, in New York, you're not going to be able to find a home for $125,000.
Definitely not.
Unfortunately, it's going to be like a Barbie house. So I asked a lot of questions and I said, I feel like I should be approved for more. And that's when the real estate agent told me, well, you have a really high debt to income ratio, meaning the debt you're in is far more than the income can pay. So the bank doesn't really want to approve me for much more because they see me as a liability.
Yeah.
And so I was really pissed off and confused because I'm like, I've worked so hard. I've been working for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I've been doing the best I can. But in reality, I really wasn't. I was running away from my student loans. I was running away from actually having a real savings account and not just, swiping for Wendy's every day or swiping for these sneakers every day. So that's when I really sat down and I called my loan providers and I asked them, how can I get this debt down a lot faster? And that's when I unfortunately realized that the balance actually was higher than what I borrowed because I was paying only the interest. So the principal was just adding up and adding up and adding up. And so I only borrowed $55,000 for school.
Okay.
And I ended up paying almost $103,000 when it was all said and done. So it was really important that I spoke to that real estate agent that time because it helped me realize that everything I thought I knew about money was wrong. And I started to learn more. I started to teach myself more. I started to kind of change my lifestyle in order to attack my debt straight on and really ask more questions. And instead of, running away or being ashamed and embarrassed, I kind of embraced the idea like, okay, I got myself into this mess. Now what can I do to get out of it? So that was really my wake up call when I turned 25.
Okay. And how did that affect your life? I looked at some of your pictures and stuff. I know you like to travel.
Yes, I do. So I didn't start traveling a lot until much later in my 20s. But once I started focusing on financial freedom and paying off my debt, it affected my life greatly because it not only mentally, but just emotionally, I was drained. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to go to friends' birthdays. I didn't want to buy people gifts because everything that was on my mind was focused on paying this debt.
Yeah.
And I was also really uncomfortable and ashamed that I had let it get so bad. Like I had let my debt just continue to balloon and not pay attention to it. And part of it is definitely my fault for not, doing my own research and learning about the other opportunities that I could have taken for going to school. But I think another part of it, like you mentioned in the beginning, we aren't given the education or the tools to understand money or financial literacy in high school or college. It's just once you turn 18, they're like, here, sign for this loan, borrow this money and pay it off. So that definitely affected me. I felt hurt and embarrassed and ashamed, but also I was like a hermit. I was staying indoors and just saving every single penny I could. I stopped going to the movies. Everything was just stopped until I could refocus on this loans.
Wow, that is a lot. I know it must have been a huge sacrifice to not, treat yourself, especially when you feel like you need it, so you deserve it.
Right.
What was your debt-free journey like? What did you do?
Yes. So especially early on, I was just pretty much like at home depressed. And then every year, so what I would do is I would do a sinking fund. So essentially I would say, okay, I want to pay off this loan by December. So what do I need to do from January to December to pay this off? And so in December, when I would pay it off and I would say, oh, wow, okay, I'm one step closer to paying off these loans, I would do like a very small treat. Like maybe I'd get my nails done, or maybe I'd like go get a wax or go out to like a brunch, but that would be it. And then it was just like, okay, back eyes on the prize. Next, what's the next loan you want to pay? So there were definitely moments. I don't think it's healthy to kind of just give up everything forever. But you do have to find a balance of what's going to bring you closer to your goal, and then how you can also, be mentally and emotionally balanced.
Couldn't have been said any better. It really couldn't. And when did you realize that you needed financial stability?
Well, I wanted to move out. That was like really the kick in the pants. I
Mm-hmm.
needed a way or a route to move out of my parents' house. And my parents are great and they're supportive, but you know, as you get older,
Yeah, you just want
you
your own
wanna
space.
you want your own space, you want your own freedom, you want your own, area. So that's what kept me motivated
Uh-huh.
with financial literacy. I'm like, okay, if I want to take the next step into what I felt like was adulthood,
Mm-hmm.
moving out, then I need to really focus on this and learn to use money as a tool. And as many vacations as I may want to go to, or as many things that I might want to buy, at the end of the day, I need to move out. So that's what kept that's the fire that kept burning me to keep going and keep focused.
Nice. And I went back to your Instagram page and I see you put up a lot of memes concerning adulthood.
Yes,
Clearly,
yes.
you're not loving it. You're not loving it. You're like, if I knew adulthood would be like this, I probably would have saved from since then. Or I don't want to do this. I don't.
Correct.
You. What are your thoughts on being an adult?
It's not fun. So I definitely think humor, like having a sense of humor and having a sense of community, has helped a lot. Not with just debt and financial literacy, but just with adulting in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times we're so overwhelmed and stressed and just think we're in it alone or no one else can relate. And I think that the memes, especially for me, I think the memes just help me like realize like, okay, this sucks, but everyone else is going through something similar.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, adulthood, it's not it's not what I expected it to be. It's very difficult
Oh wow.
daily.
Yeah, I can say the same. I can't do with the bills on top of the bills on top of the bills, and I'm like, when is it going to end?
Yes, like what is this cycle? Why am I stuck in
I
this
did not sign
cycle?
up for this.
Yeah, I don't want to play this game anymore. So.
Take me out. And what do you consider to be financial stability?
That's a really good question. So financial stability to me
Mm-hmm.
is being able to afford a comfortable lifestyle, but also building generational wealth. Because I use money now as a tool, not just only for myself, but for my future like children. I'm not a mom yet, but I do want for when my children to reach 18, for them to have a really great net worth. And at 18, I wasn't even thinking about net worth. I didn't even know what a net worth was, so I'm taking a lot of steps with investing and things with my home and like potential real estate things. So it's like all of the ways I'm trying to use money now are to make sure that yes, I'm comfortable now, but also that I'm comfortable in 20 years and that my children are comfortable in 20 years and that the cycle of wealth continues to grow. Because I think it's really important to, yes, always want better for yourself, but definitely want better for your future and those to come ahead of you, after you.
And I totally agree. People often mix it up and be like, financial stability is when you can do this and you can do that. We could go to party and you could buy $200 bottles and this. And I'm like, so what happens to your bills?
I mean, that's fun, but it's not the only thing.
Yeah. And you have helped other people to become financially stable. Yes. Can you tell us, probably just give us some insight on how that happened. How did that go about? Did they come to you? Did you go to them?
So like I said, I started this journey around 25. And then when I was like 28 or 29, I was sitting down with my friends and we were talking and we all had so many similar experiences, especially when it came to student debt and financial freedom and things like that. And I was just like, you know what? I want to write all of these things down and make it funny, yes, but like put them all together, all these experiences, and put it out there on the internet. And so I created Millennial in Debt, the web series. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just make an Instagram to like support the web series. And then it just kind of like ballooned from there. And so it went from just being a web series to me doing information on student loans. And then it just went into how to invest and all these different topics and things with money. And so as the platform continued to grow on YouTube and Instagram, I would just take people's questions and I would do the research or any experiences that I have or my friends and family have and just kind of put it into small bite-sized pieces of information. Because I think that's what makes it really hard, financial literacy. Sometimes it's overwhelming and there's such a large amount of information that by taking like little pieces and, you know, okay, I'll post this on Insta story, or I'll post this on Instagram, or I'll do this on YouTube. It gives people access without being overwhelmed. And I think people just like randomly find it, or people share it. And I really enjoy what the platform has become and the people that follow, because it's really real, and it's a strong community of people who want to learn, or people who know more than I do and want to share information. So that's how it kind of blew up from the web series, and this is where it is now today.
Great. And yes, I actually went onto your website and I scrolled through. I'm like, wow, you have this option where you can educate, where you want to learn, you want to donate, and I think it's really empowering. You know, I like it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I do it for people to feel empowered and to feel like, you know, they have a grasp on how to use their money in their lives.
And for them to know that, you know, you're not alone. Everybody at some point in time, they do go through this process where, you know, they feel like they're lost it all, like the money is never enough, and they're overwhelmed with so much debts and so much, you know, heartbreaks, like they don't know what to do.
Right.
And yeah, I think it's a very good platform for people to get educated about financial literacy on. If you have to go back in time and give your younger self some advice, what would that be and why?
I really like this question. I would probably go back to my 18-year-old self. So when I was first starting off college, and just explain to myself that you don't have to rush to make a decision. I think that's what happened at 18. I felt like, okay, well, I have to pay off this balance to register for my next semester. Let me just sign this loan. I wish I would have told myself not to rush and to really like think about your options, look up your options. You know, I research so many things now, but at 18, I kind of took a lot of things at face value. And someone said, okay, this is the only way, I would say, okay, and like take that way. But I think knowing different options, or even knowing that you can pay your loans while you're in school, like I didn't know that, you know, and I was just letting the interest accumulate during those 4 years when I did have a job in college, and it paid pretty well for being in college. So at that time, if I had known, I would have been paying off loans while in school. So those are just things I wish I could tell myself, you know, do the research and don't rush. Take your time in making a decision.
Agreed. I totally agreed. And what are some sacrifices that, you know, you had to make to be where you are right now?
Oh, yeah. This is always makes me like so sad. So for those 4 years where I was just focused strictly on money, I missed a lot of like my best friend's birthday.
Yikes.
I was unable to buy my parents, especially my dad, who like, I love both my parents, and my dad is like so good with gifts, and he's so supportive and helpful through everything. I wasn't really able to buy him anything for like Father's Day or Christmas or things like that. And what I did was I pretty much alienated myself from those that I really loved, because I was ashamed that I couldn't, you know, financially give them things to show them I love. Even though I know they didn't need it, it just made me feel really bad not being able to go to a group dinner with my best friend for her birthday, or to buy something for my mom for Mother's Day, because I felt like they deserved it. You know, they're such strong people in my life. But I just couldn't financially do that. And it was, those were probably the hardest sacrifices.
Oh, that's those are hard.
Yeah.
They are hard.
Stuff now, it's fine.
You make up for the years.
Yeah.
So somebody from our live actually has a question for you.
Sure.
He asks, how do you feel about taking a personal loan to pay off high interest credit card debt?
I don't like personal loans because so I'll speak from the point of view of the student loan. So when you take student loans, you can take your own personal student loans, or you can take the federal student loans, which are offered by the government. So when it comes to loan forgiveness and a lot of the restrictions and things that are more helpful to people, those are only covered in the federal loans, right? The loans from the government. So when you take personal loans, they can pretty much do anything they want. There's no real legal restriction. And case in point for me, I took out a private student loan at 7% interest. And by the time I was paying it back 4 years later, it was at 16% interest. You know, they had more than doubled the interest rate. So personal loans are tricky. I do know that some people do consolidate their debt and then they're able to kind of lower the payment. So that you could look into loan consolidation for those credit cards, but I definitely suggest reading the promissory note, reading everything that they're offering, because you don't want to sign this consolidation at this interest rate and then they double it next year or they double it in 2 years. So if it's something you're looking into, be very, very, very careful what it is that you're signing, because you don't want it to cost you more down the line.
Great. You, hope he heard that. I hope he listened to it.
I hope so.
Yeah. And what are some steps that someone should take when they want to start that journey of financial literacy?
Yes. So I always say, because it's our greatest reaction to debt is to kind of run away from it at 1st. I know when Sally Mae was calling my phone when I was 21, 22, I was not picking up that phone. I didn't care. I didn't care what she had to say. I was like, you know what? You'll get your money every month, but like, I don't want to hear anything from you. So my biggest piece of advice when you wake up and you're like, okay, I want to focus on my financial literacy, the first thing is definitely to contact your loan providers if you do have any type of debt, because they're going to give you payment options, right?
Okay.
So usually what's going to happen is they're going to say, okay, give us $3,000 a month, right? That's the main payment. You're like, no. And then they're like, okay, give us $200 a month. And you're just like, oh yeah, that's better. And not realizing that's an interest only payment, right? So they're going to be getting so much more money from you down the line on that payment plan. But instead, if you ask them what are their payment options, because the federal loans offer 8 different payment options, right? It's not just 2, it's not just 3. Those are the ones that they usually promote, but they have 8 different options. And those options may work better for your financial situation. They also may work better for how long you're going to pay this debt, right? Is it going to be 10 years? Is it going to be 30 years? So definitely call your loan provider. The next thing, which also kind of is depressing, is you need to add up all of your debt. When I sat down and added up all my debt, I was really sad, because I'm like, what? Like, how did I end up in this?
I can't do that.
But it really helps you figure out your net worth. It helps you figure out your liabilities. It helps you figure out your assets. You really just need to sit down with yourself and your financial situation, your money. And that's how you create a plan. If you don't know where you stand, if you don't know how much debt you have, if you don't know what your assets are, you can't really move forward, because you're kind of just shooting, into the dark. So definitely call your loan providers and sit down and kind of figure out your debt and your net worth.
Good. You guys heard? Call your loan providers. Don't take it upon yourself. Read the fine print.
Yes. That's how they get us.
Yes, because we don't really like to read. I don't know what it is.
It's a lot, though, and it's tricky. So I don't blame us, but we just want to take the extra step to read those letters.
Yeah. And let's stray away from the topic just a little bit. Okay. So you have been a really big advocate for Black Lives matter. Yes, I have seen it. The picture that I have for the flyer is you in a really cute t-shirt.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions surrounding Black Lives Matter?
Well, obviously, I'm definitely pro Black Lives Matter. I think what's happening now is both devastating and beautiful. Devastating because so many Black lives are still being, taken away from us, being mistreated, being harmed. But I think it's beautiful that we all have gathered together and stood up and have continued to stand up, not just one day, not just 2 days. We're going on almost a month of protests, and we're really starting to see change happen very slowly, but it's happening. And it's not something I thought I would see in my lifetime, which is actually very sad to say out loud, but I never thought I would see laws start to change. I never thought I would see police officers being held accountable, and of course we want to see more police officers held accountable. We want to stop police brutality. We want to defund the police academy and police force, but I'm happy to see that things are moving forward, and I hope so much more change occurs, and we really start to have some sort of semblance of equality or equity in our country. Do laws start to change? It's very difficult.
Okay, agreed. I must agree with you on that. It is challenging times, but I believe that there is a light at the end of the road, and we got to take everything one day at a time, one step at a time.
I agree. Yeah? I agree 100%.
Until we get what we want and get where we need to be. Guys, do you have any other questions, or else I'm just going to dive into mine. I am just going to dive into mine. So would you recommend getting a loan from a bank rather than some other loan provider?
I recommend, so if you are going to take a personal loan or you're going to look into mortgages, I recommend credit unions.
Okay.
I think credit unions, although they're still a part of the banking system, so, they need their money, but I think they just have more alignment with people, like humanity, as opposed to banks, which are very robotic, and it's just, we're looking at your credit score, we're looking at your income, and that's it. I've always signed with credit unions. So my mortgage is with a credit union. When I had a car loan, it's with a credit union. So everything I try to do is with credit unions. And they usually will have lower interest rates. I know when I got my car loan, I had a 1.8 interest rate, which is amazing because the car salesman was trying to give me a 13% interest rate. And I'm like, I have amazing credit. There's no reason for me to have a 13% car loan. That's ridiculous. So I suggest doing research at credit unions first, just to compare to what the bank might be offering you, and make your decisions from there.
Great. And how does your credit score affect, how does it affect you getting a loan or yourself in debt or anything like that? How does your credit score affect you financially, basically?
So your credit score pretty much is like a gatekeeper. It lets you into certain areas and aspects of financial life. And what that means is it pretty much dictates how much money you're going to pay back if you're borrowing money, or if you'll be approved at all. It helps you kind of figure out how you're going to continue to build your credit. So I'll go with, let's do credit cards. So if you're trying to open a credit card with a really below average or not so great credit score, they might not approve you. And if they do approve you, they're going to approve you with a really high interest rate. And credit card interest rates are some of the highest ones I've ever seen. They can get up to as high as 29%. Right. So they essentially will be punishing you for having bad credit. They'll give you the credit card, you'll make a purchase, and if you're unable to pay that purchase off at the end of the month, you're going to be facing really high interest rates on that balance. As opposed to someone who gets the same credit card but has a much better credit score, they'll give them a much, much, much lower interest rate, and they have a higher rate of approval, and they also have a higher chance of getting a much larger balance, which also helps your credit score, right? So some people will get approved for $1,000, whereas if you have an 800 credit score, you can get approved for $10,000. So credit score is definitely something you want to keep an eye on, and you want to always make sure you're looking at your credit report, and that there are not things that don't belong to you, or things that you have resolved shouldn't be on your credit report anymore, right? Just to kind of help build your credit score back up.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry. It's a lot of information. I'm sorry.
No. I agree. You are breaking it down really nicely for us. You're keeping it basic while trying to get, everything on the inside. So you're doing really good. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm trying. It's the teacher in me.
Yes, you're teaching us at this point. We're learning, and we're here to learn. No.
Good.
And how? What are some tips you would give somebody who wants to start that journey, who wants to become, financially stable at some point? Okay,
so I think after you've kind of sat down with your debts, or if you don't have any debts, you've sat down with your net worth, because you do need to know how many assets you have, how many liabilities, things like that. I do think it's important for you to look at credit after that. So I always focus on like, okay, look at your debt, look at your net worth, and credit is third, because if you don't know your net worth, you don't really care about your credit score. So credit score is not really at the top of your mind. But if you do have a negative credit score, I do suggest starting with a secured credit card. So what a secured credit card is, you pretty much give a deposit. So let's say you give $500 to whatever bank establishment that you're using. That will be your credit card limit. So your credit card limit will be $500. And in using that credit wisely and paying it on time, or essentially paying yourself back, you're building your credit that way. And I know Discover, if anyone's looking for a secured credit card, Discover really offers a great secured card, where if you don't have great credit, they'll let you get the secured card. And as you show that you're fiscally responsible with your money, then they shift you into a regular credit card, right? Because your credit score is starting to improve. So if you know that you don't really have great credit, definitely try for a secured credit card. All banks offer them. But I know Discover has that way where they'll transition you back to a normal credit card once you start to work on it.
Okay, great. Guys, any other questions? She is Melissa from Millennial in Debt. The first time that I came to you and I'm like, damn, should I really ask her? I mean, she's so.
Of course.
I was so nervous. I'm like, what if she doesn't even reply?
Oh no, I replied to everyone. I'm just like, I'm here to help. It's just this is a community. I like that my platform is very open and that people have access to me, and it's just like you can DM me anytime. Anytime.
Yes. And tell us a little bit about your parents. I know you mentioned your parents a few times, so I'm guessing they were heavily involved in your life. When you started to rise above that situation, how did they feel about that?
Oh, they're so like proud. They're so cute. They're very proud, and they think I'm a celebrity, and because
you are a celebrity. You're like 18K.
I am definitely not. Definitely not. But that's what they tell their friends. They're really excited and proud. And I teach them things too, because they didn't get this access to this type of knowledge when they were growing up either, and so they had to pretty much navigate life in America on their own and figure things out. And I've been helping my dad. He's getting ready to retire, so I'm making sure he has a financial advisor to help him with retirement. So they're just really excited and proud, and just like they just talk about it all the time. They're so cute. But yeah, they're heavily involved in pretty much everything. They're a great support system.
Great. And I think every child deserves a great support system from their parents.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Especially like Caribbean parents can be a little tough. Like my parents were a little tough when I was younger, but it was always out of place of love. So it was like, I know I didn't always agree, but they did a pretty good job.
They absolutely did. Look at you, flourishing, growing. You're welcome.
I'll let them know you said that. They'll be really happy.
Thank you, celeb. Thank you, celebrity. Do you think that you... Well, you are a celebrity.
No. Definitely a regular person.
Okay. That's what I see. Do you think that you'll ever stop teaching, or you love it so much that you're just going to stay until
I don't know. Every day I like think differently about it. So at first I thought this was actually going to be my last year teaching. Because I did want to expand the brand a lot further, and it does require a lot more of my time. And so it's hard to balance teaching and then, creating content and doing things like that. But especially with Corona, I do like having a steady paycheck. Great. And I do like having steady insurance and things like that. It's just a means of like security. So I do love teaching, and I will be teaching for the next school year. I don't know what the future will hold, because like I said, I do want to expand the brand. But for now, I'm going to be like pretty safe and secure in the teaching world for a little longer.
Good to know, because we definitely need teachers like you in this world.
Oh, thank you. Teaching is like one of my favorite things.
Good. It's your passion. I always say, like, find your passion and work on it. You never know. You might get so far that you'll never believe, oh my God, it was just something that I like doing.
Right, exactly. And now it's like I teach about money. So it's just, it all comes full circle. It's all really amazing.
You want to tell us a little bit about your brand expansion?
Sure. So we are actually working on that right now with our web designer. So we're going to be offering one-on-one coaching services for people who want financial literacy and financial advice. And my business partner, who's also my best friend, she's a lawyer. She's a practicing lawyer, and she works with kind of expanding minority experiences in these very white spaces. So what we're going to be doing on her end is we're going to be also doing coaching for like diversity and asking for a raise, doing all these things, navigating kind of white collar jobs as a minority. So she's going to be taking on that because she's like really well versed in that. So we're going to be expanding like that and just trying to reach more people and help more people on an individual basis and like small group basis. But that's the plan so far.
Beautiful. And do you ever see yourself being a, how do you call it? Oh, Jesus. I forgot.
That's okay.
Do you ever see yourself being okay, I forgot it. But I'll figure it out after.
It'll come back to you.
It will at some point. And I'm like, I knew that's a question I wanted to ask her. And do you see yourself as an influencer?
I don't really like that word.
Okay, so
but
what's the
I-
word you like?
It is what people like call me online or in
Mhm.
that digital space. I prefer to be a content creator.
Okay.
But it's fun. Like, I don't mind. It's just influencer always makes me just like, I guess. But I'm more of like a content creator, digital content creator.
Copy and digital content creator.
Yes.
Got
yes.
I got the question. Are you ever into motivational speaking?
Not particularly. I know people don't believe me when I say this, but I'm actually really shy and have extremely bad anxiety. I know. Everyone's like, no, you don't. You're a teacher. So I'm very shy and have like really crazy anxiety, and I really don't like public speaking.
Okay.
Even though I get up every day and teach like kids every day,
Mhm.
but even when I like my principal's like, oh, can you do like this for the audience or their parents? I'm just like, no. I don't enjoy public speaking. I just get so nervous. So I won't say never, like I'll never do it, but right now it's not on the table.
I wouldn't have guessed that you're shy.
Oh, I'm
Honestly,
so
I wouldn't,
shy.
I
It's
wouldn't,
like,
I wouldn't have guessed you're timid.
It's so crazy. Like if I go in public spaces or anything, I'm always just like, ugh.
Wow. I never guessed that. It has been so fulfilling speaking to you. I feel like a whole new woman.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This was like awesome. This was super fun.
Thank you for agreeing to come on my show.
No problem. This
No.
was so fun. Thank you so much.
I actually had a celebrity. I can
I
say
know.
that. I've been having celebrities for my entire show, and I'm a little proud.
Oh my God. You are so adorable. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. You want to give people some contact as where they can find you, how they can reach you, and how they can log into Millennial in Debt?
Sure. So on Instagram is probably the easiest and quickest way to get to me, which is at Millennial in Debt. We're on YouTube as well at Millennial in Debt. You can find us on Facebook at Millennial in Debt. Twitter is where I talk a lot of nonsense, but you can find
Guys,
me.
she speaks nonsense.
Yeah, I love Twitter. It's like crazy. At Mill in Debt on Twitter. And for right now, our website is Charles and Tresses, but the domain will be switching to millennialindebt.com really soon. So you can find us all over the internet, and I answer all my DMs.
Yes, guys, I can attest to that. She does.
Yes, I do.
I have a question though. Trials and Tresses, where did that name come from?
Yes, so Charles and Tresses was my business partner and myself's first brand from 2013.
Wow.
So 7 years ago, we shaved our heads together.
Okay.
And we're like, okay, let's kind of figure this like natural hair process out. And we started a blog and started a brand in our LLC. So Millennial in Debt was like the little baby of Charles and Tresses. It started under that that umbrella. And so now we're kind of shifting more into that space. So Charles and Tresses will always live on forever, but we're going to move away from hair and beauty and things like that.
Great. And what is one piece of advice that you would love to leave with our listeners today?
Yes. So my biggest thing is to always kind of just follow your own journey. I know there are so many financial like gurus and influencers all over, and they have what works for them, but it doesn't work for everyone. I think it's really important that you stay true to your own financial journey and what works for your lifestyle. And yes, listening to advice is great. Reading and knowledge is great, but don't feel like you have to do something because this influencer did it, or you have to follow this method because it's in this book. Do what works best for your life.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're so welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm sure everybody here in the studio actually got some really good and sound advice from you, and everybody on the live really did. A few persons said thank you for the information. It is very
you're
useful.
so welcome.
And I must say it was a pleasure having you. I don't want to keep you any
awesome
longer because I know you have a really tight schedule.
It's okay.
Thank you, Melissa. And I
Awesome.
am definitely going to keep in touch with you.
Yes, feel free.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Take
everyone.
care. All right, guys. That was Melissa from Millennial in Debt. And again, today we spoke a little bit about financial literacy. You guys have to excuse the giggling today. It was a very refreshing show. I must say it was very informative and educational. Thank you. It was, and I must say thank you guys for tuning in as always. Splash. Okay, you're gonna give me a guys. I'm sorry. Excuse the giggling. I don't know. I'm just happy today. Tune in this afternoon at 7 o'clock with Mafia again with Next on the Rise. We have 2 upcoming artists. You guys want to look out for them. The Bronx is taking over. That's his little, catchphrase for today. Mafia, I don't know what's that about. But yes, guys, so tune in at 7 o'clock with Mafia, and I am Sasha. Yeah, I am Sasha. Yeah. This afternoon. To all the fathers, happy belated Father's Day. You guys know that we did a little giveaway for the fathers on Sunday, and we had 3 fathers who won. We are going to post some pictures for you guys later so you can see them. So just go ahead and view our page on GMGT.LIVE on Instagram and Facebook, and you can spew who won. And stay tuned. We have more giveaways coming up, I promise you. As you know, we have a packed Saturday as always, and we have an interesting Friday tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Apparently, the show that's taking over Facebook, the Wake Up Call with DJ Mad Russian, Alma Boy, and the Soca Enthusiast. And I promise you, you do not want to miss that show in the morning time at all, from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Remember to tune in to Wednesday evening with the midweek therapy session with Silence and Cream, and on Monday afternoon at 7 p.m. with DJ Splash and Mafia for the after party, guys. We must say thank you to all the followers, listeners, subscribers, supporters, fans. You guys are doing an amazing job. We are growing, and we are forever thankful for it, and it's because of you we are doing what we're doing, and we will continue until GMGT lives in every household. Have a good afternoon.
Till I don't know it. Walking until I don't know it. Take hard walk till you drop down, girl. I say straight hard walk until you breathless, girl. Take hard walk until you drop down, girl. I say straight hard walk until you breathless, girl. She getting good enough, she not go nowhere. She like that, tell her don't be boy run away. Head man, I walking until I don't know it. Walking until I don't know it. She tell me I'm the best she ever had. She make the man feel like type of way. She always should have the mark away. That's why you hate him. She always should have the mark away. She make the man feel like type of way. She always should have the mark away. The guy don't like that is that he says she always should have the mark away.
GMGT big, where the culture lives. Big, vibes big. GMGT, oh it is what it is. Smartin'.